Ladies and gentlemen, let's listen to the beautiful music for a moment. Suck it in. Soak it in. Thursdays. ZoWilliams, the voice of reason, surrounded by his Lemur God crew. Is this Anthony Hamilton? This is a cold record right here. Baby making music. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the voice of reason. I'm ZoWilliams, and you're in the Foxxhole, Sirius Satellite Radio, Channel 106. And like I said earlier, today is another Thursday. And you know what that means? It's the voice of reason. And we have an incredible topic lined up for you guys today. And as you do know, this show is about the death of relationship dumbassification. And we're going to give you some fast food consciousness in this hour to try to help your relationships get better. I'm ZoWilliams, and I'm your guide, and I will lead you through the morass that is the relationship chicanery. Anyway, very quickly, I want to thank my callers from last week. I appreciate you guys for reaching out. And if you guys want to get involved in the conversation, which is my first love, which is first dates, first impressions, how to make a lasting one. A lot of times we blunder when we get with somebody, or we're trying to get with somebody. We profess to be something that we're not. So that's today's topics. First date, first impressions, how to make a lasting one. And if you want to get involved in the conversation, you do know the number is 877-210-6106. Once again, the number to dial to get involved in this conversation is 877-106-106. And I want to thank our callers from last week. Again, Mr. Splash, Brian from Kansas, Mickey from Alabama, Nick from Arizona, Renee from New Jersey, Marie from Portland, Mark from New Jersey, and Tony from New Mexico. I really appreciate you guys for reaching out. And this is what we do every week on The Voice of Reason with ZoWilliams. Now, let's just get into the topic. And you guys know when you call in, you know, the lines, they fill up awfully quick. So if you want to get involved, you got to move quick. So how about this first impression thing? I think if you're going to make a good first impression on a date, you got to be the real you. A lot of people call in and talk about that representative they meet on the date. You guys, I'm talking to people. I'm talking to you out there in radio land, like y'all sitting in here with me, because there's a lot of people in here sitting, so we having a conversation. So chime in when you want. But we've heard of that old euphemism, that adage about the motherfucking representative. And you know, in my first book, The Rebirth of Seeds, I wrote a poem called Ink, where I likened people to corporations. Remember I said that? A corporation is a fictitious person. Well, the representative operates just like the corporation. And a lot of times people will operate as a false person in order to maybe protect themselves because they've been through a negative situation before. Hint, hint, there's somebody here who, you know, has done that. Quite successfully, I may add. However, you know, there are people who, you know, who put out this representative as a protective measure because they've gone through negative relationships. And I always say that whenever you allow the negative experience to become your personal advisor, you miss the lesson of the relationship. Because the lesson is to help you transcend whatever complexity or difficulty existed in that particular relationship. It wasn't there for you to say, well, now I'm going to harden myself to experience and I'm going to shield myself off and become this manicured, prepared image that I'll send out on the date before I get comfortable with the next person. Yeah, that's what the experience is for. The word experience in and of itself means to go through and come out on the other side. Not to carry that shit with you. So again, first impressions about this, you know, how we get together and make a meaningful first impression. What I like to do is to say, regardless of the pain, regardless of the hurt, just be you, right? Be you on that date. Don't be some bullshit, because you know what happens? Whenever the fakeness comes out, first off, fakeness always is connected to a timeline. You can only be fake for so long. You can only keep up the charade for so long. And then after that, but then again, after that, for most guys, it's like, well, you got what we wanted. It's time for me to take this jacket off and be some other shit. And be the shit I meant to be early, right? I always tell women, be careful of we did a show about this too. Behavior as the lie, where I said, or behavior as the more effective lie, where a motherfucking dude can tell you everything and act the way you want him to act, and he's behaving properly, but that doesn't mean you're actually connected to this guy's intention. You might just be connected to his behavior. That's why I always tell women, don't fall for the actions speak louder than words shit, because that ain't always true, because we know exactly how to probe you. We know what questions to ask. We know how to manipulate the situation, and we know how to behave. That's the key. We know how to behave. My brother's over here telling me to be quiet, not to say this shit. So I always tell women, don't just go for the behavior. It's about connecting to the intent, and that's a spiritual movement, and that deals with your intuition more so than it does with just watching a dude's physical behavior. And a lot of times women are not so in tune with their fucking intuition. They're always looking for security and certainty and the emotion and all that shit, and they're trying to be satiated on a basic level, right? And all I'm saying is go deeper. It's some other shit there. Dude might be acting right for 18 months. After 18 months, then what? I never liked you anyway, bitch. That might happen. You trying to tell me that don't happen? I know niggas like that. 18 months. Well, 18 months is long for a lot of cats. Shit, that's a jail term for a lot of cats. I'm just saying, once the objective has been reached, it's like a military mission for us dudes. We see the girl, we size her up. What's her belief? And this is all tied into that first impression, right? Let me see, I got to be on my P's and Q's. I got to be dressed right. I got to, have the right posture. I got to have the right attitude. I'm fishing. I tell women, don't be the fish. You better be a fisherman, because if you're the fish, that means you're susceptible to my bait. And what is my bait? Using what you like against you. First impressions. 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial. You listen to the voice of reason. I'm ZoWilliams, and this is what we do every Thursday. So to go back to the point, we're talking about first impressions and how to make a lasting and meaningful one. Well, it goes back to my metaphor about the fucking corporation. Corporation is a fictitious person. What is a corporation run by? It's run by its bylaws. Well, in relationship, we're run by our personal agendas. So the bottom line, everybody has to align themselves with the corporate bylaws. In a relationship, you got to align yourself with your personal agenda. So you go out and you look for motherfuckers who have similar, personal agendas where you can meld them together, right? And form some type of organization here. Correct? Is that not true? I'm talking to my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial. If you want to participate, this is what we're doing. So I always tell people, don't send the representative out. Why? Because the time limit that's involved with that, right? And now you're entering in a relationship that is predicated on tolerance. Have you heard that? I just tolerated him for as long as I could, or I just tolerated her for as long as I could. I always tell people, whenever you're tolerating them, you're not accepting them. What you're doing is not talking about the silent clock that's ticking. Motherfucker, you got a little bit while longer before this shit is going to hit the fucking fan. You got just a taste more of that shit. And again, we're always trying to be prepared and manicured in the beginning. And I always tell people, don't fall for the okie doke. Just because a motherfucker looks right, sounds right, comes across right, doesn't mean he's right for you. And even more importantly, just because they feel right. Because a lot of times we go off the feeling. Water signs, Pisces. I'm just playing. My homeboy's a Pisces in here. And I got a homegirl who's a Pisces, so I'm just fucking with them. But again, don't just go off the feeling. The feeling will get you in trouble if you base all your relationship endeavors off of just feeling good. Because guess what happens? Once the shit starts feeling bad, you pull the parachute cord. You're ready to jump out, right? You ready to parachute out this motherfucker because you're looking for the next good feeling. A lot of times relationship provides a bunch of negative feelings so as to challenge you so you can modify your own personal character and develop and grow into some other shit. But again, we miss out on a lot of lessons. And when we miss the lessons and end those relationships preemptively or early, we end them too early. We don't get the lesson. And if we don't get the lesson, what happens? The lesson becomes cyclical. Niggas, I'm fucking up on my own word. It becomes cyclical, right? So you have to get in another relationship and find out. As a matter of fact, I had a girl that I was dating. This is true shit. And I told her, monkey ass, she was not listening to me. I told her, I said, you're going to get this lesson, whether from me or for somebody else. You're going to get it. She didn't listen. I'm a mystic, right? I'm a mystical dude, crazy kind of dude. Motherfucker, she hooked up with some dude, and I swear to God, dude was the polar opposite of me in every way. I said, what's this nigga's name? She said, why you know? You don't. I said, just tell me his name. What's his name? She said, his name is Andre. Nigga, do you know the only other name that can come from the word Andre is Renard? You're going to get your lesson whether it comes from me or not. You're going to get it, goddammit. So again, 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. We're talking about first impressions. A lot of times we put too much emphasis on how a person is supposed to come at us. And again, if a person comes at you the exact way you want them to, shit, a lot of times you have to be more cautious of that person. You have to be way more cautious of that person because, again, if they're doing exactly what you want in the exact way that you want, and you can't tell if it's coming from an organic source, right, or a superficial one, because a lot of times people can't make a spiritual decision off an emotional feeling. So if it feels good, they think, well, damn, this is spiritual. We're meant for each other. No, we're not. This nigga is basically out to lunch. He's here just to get a little something. And again, how do you know if a person who is behaving properly, right? Right. But how many people know how to ask proper questions? You're giving yourself a bit too much credit. I know you. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody's trying to bogart in. No. There's a lot of people out there that don't know the questions to ask. A lot of times, shit, if it just feels right, it just feels right. Let's go with it. And next thing you know, you're in some shit. And you're wishing. How many people have wished, fuck, I wish I wouldn't have, this nigga sparkle in his eye or the motherfucking white jacket he was wearing that night. Damn it. How many motherfuckers got that wish? And I know from personal experience, I got the wish of, fuck, I wish chocolate ass wouldn't have floated through here. I just wish, again, we talk about this on a lot of shows, spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. When we're vibrating on just the emotional and the physical plane, we're susceptible to illusion. We're susceptible to the representative. Motherfucker, representative look good and it feel good. Wake up in some bullshit. Joey, one of our fucking engineers, said, he gave me a euphemism. He said, if you love someone, let her go. If she comes back, he said, get the bitch tested. That's one of the engineers from New York. So again, for me, it's very fucking difficult to be able to discern what a fucking good first impression is if you're not totally 100% in tune with yourself and you're not 100% totally in tune with your weaknesses and strengths and all of that shit. It's really difficult to find out if a person is on the up and up. So this is what we're talking about tonight. First impressions. You're listening to ZoWilliams. This is the Foxxhole, Sirius Satellite Radio, Channel 106. We're about to take a very quick break, and when we come back, call in and let us know what you think of this topic. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. I'll holla. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, back once again, the voice of reason, ZoWilliams. It's a motherfucking party up in here. Jay Dilla, is that who that is? And D'Angelo coming. That shit is fire right there. Again, our topic tonight: first dates, first impressions, how to make a lasting one, how to make a meaningful one, how to be able to tell the difference when someone is shucking and jiving you. I always talk to the ladies, and then the lady said something during the break about fucking what was that shit you said? Yeah, what if the self-protection is not predicated on previous relationships, but protecting yourself against or protecting yourself from the bullshit, right? And I think and from the dumbassification, right? And I think, man, love is a fearless territory. Like, if you really want to make a meaningful connection, you can't let the fear of the bullshit contaminate the authentic possibility. Because I think the moment fear comes in, it contaminates the possibility of meaning. Like, what is the probability of that happening? First off, you got to stop having, I'm going to just give you a real jewel, right? Stop having faith in people. Fuck people. That's the first thing. You got to stop having faith in people. People going to let you down all day in America. Now, the first thing you need to do, because and this is why is you got to stop having faith in people, because most people don't have faith in themselves. That's the real shit. If you scared by yourself, nigga, you're going to be terrified with somebody else, because there's something else to be afraid of in that equation. There's more to be afraid of. Is this nigga going to leave? Is he going to continue to do for me? And vice versa. Not just men to women, but women to men, vice versa, because the women are here and they're poking me. But again, shit, motherfuckers just got to stop really relying on people to be their best selves. And then you also got to think, shit, I always say this, we're in a capitalist society. This is a out for self kind of society. So everybody is getting into relationships with the nigga, what is the advantage for me? Huh? How do I make out on top? That's why I liken relationships to two corporations getting ready to merge. Now, the motherfucker with the most resources, and that's spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional, usually fucking does a hostile takeover of the other bullshit, or the other corporation. So again, all I'm saying, how do you just Sirius and XM? That's hysterical. My producer just said, just like Sirius did to XM. That's some shit. But I think it's very important that we try to make these discernments, because just because a person has a high credit score or has a nice home and has a nice job and all this and that don't mean you're going to find any freedom in that relationship. That person might be like, shit, you're coming into my dynasty, right? You're coming into my world. You better acclimate to these corporate bylaws. You feel what I'm saying? Marie from Chicago, chime in and tell us what the fuck is on your mind pertaining to the topic.
Hi, how you guys doing? I just really wanted to say that I actually wound up meeting my husband like that after going through a lot of, like bad experiences of not being myself. And I was like 2 seconds away from lying to him about who I was and my background. And then I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. This is who I am, and this is what it is.
So, Marie, let me ask you, Marie, what was the lie you were going to tell?
I was going to tell him I had no kids because I don't look like I have kids. My kids.
Oh, that would have been a terrible lie. You would have really blew it.
Exactly. No, but it's just because generally when I date, no one ever had got to the point to even meet my kids. So I was like, well, it's not even his business. I don't have to tell him. And then I was like,
but if you're dating him, it kind of is his business, because what if, just say, I mean, you made out fortunate, but just say his deal breaker was kids. And say you didn't tell him and he really got wrapped up into you, because apparently if you married him, the chemistry, the energy, all of that shit was there. Everything, the stars aligned. You guys are supposed to be together, right? So what if you didn't tell him? You would have you would have crashed your whole love affair.
It's different too what you said though about you need to be sure, kind of like when you hook up, about each other's bylaws, because people try to do that hostile takeover because you didn't take enough time to like really learn what it meant to say upgrade. To upgrade, because it make a difference. Because I spend time now, 7 years down the line, here I go spend time, be like, okay, I understand what you're saying, but you need to understand that I'm listening to you. I understand your point of view, but I just don't agree. I'm doing something different.
So, Marie, and let me ask you a question. How did you feel in that moment of vulnerability when you decided to do the right thing by being your true self?
Scared
How did
as
that
hell.
feel?
I felt scared. I was scared.
And you embraced the fear, didn't you?
Well, I swallowed it and I just went on ahead, yeah.
And look how it worked out for you.
It worked out well.
I appreciate
On the
you,
whole,
Marie.
It worked out well. Because that song is like, I'd rather be going through it with you than somebody else. It's true. You always go to a certain degree. I don't think nothing out there is perfect. And I think for women, at least, we get messed up a lot of times because even though you try and tell yourself what you see on TV is not real, you subconsciously in the back of your mind, you do kind of think, you psych yourself out. So when stuff happens bad, what you say, you pull your parachute, you be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm out of here.
I'm out.
Do that because you wind up doing the same thing like your girl did with somebody else. You're going to learn your lesson.
True. Marie, I want to thank you for calling. You are a great caller. You can call anytime to the Voice of Reason. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. If you guys want to get on this conversation, this is some real shit. Low Life from Alabama. Holla at me, brother.
What it is, Phil?
I'm good, big time. What's happening?
All right. Let me break it down to you, man. I'm a hood nigga, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm used to the hood. So me, I get along better with hoes. You know what I'm saying? I went out with a lady, but we didn't really get along good because, you know, I ain't used to that. I'm a hood nigga. I'm used to out here in the street doing my own thing. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm married now, but I married an ex-stripper. But we get along great because she know me, you know what I'm saying? And she know my ways. So what you think about that, Phil?
Hey, Low Life, shit. You had to find somebody that was at your conscious level. And I ain't mad at you. Shit. If you at that conscious level to where, you know, you relate better to hoes and strippers and you could take a stripper and turn her into a housewife, nigga, I got praise for you. Shit. I wouldn't want to put you with some refined, dignified, intellectual, super woman.
Me is boring, man.
Right. You fuck around with Felicia Rashad or somebody and just be bored as hell, cheating on her like crazy. Yeah, man. Low Life, I want to thank you for the call, man. You made this hilarious. I appreciate you, brother. Call in anytime. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. Who is this from Texas? Z-Wall. Z-Wall, holla and let me know what you think, brother.
Z-Wall.
Z-Wall, what's up, man?
E-Wall.
I got you.
I'm good, man. I'm just, I want to comment on being real, you know. I mean, being real is the only thing that you are really supposed to do, you know. If a girl don't like you for who you are, then, I mean, hell, I guess she ain't the one, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, huh?
So have you had problems with women who haven't accepted you for who you were?
I just to say that, yeah. I mean, because I don't lie, you know. I keep it real, you know. So my brother once told me, real recognize real.
So are you saying that? So let me ask you this question. Are you saying, from your experience, women can't handle the truth?
Yeah.
Yeah. He ain't talking to you, Tiffany. Shit. Tiffany wants to know what is the truth.
I mean, the truth is like telling how much, I mean, how pretty she is and doing sweet things for her and all that type of stuff. See, most females, they want them old, I guess them gangster type niggas, you know what I'm saying, that's going to do them wrong, get their ass pregnant, and then they end up with like 4, 5, 6 babies, you know what I'm saying?
You mean like Low Life? You mean like Low Life who just called? Is that what you're talking about?
You know, it looks like he gonna handle his, you know what I'm saying?
No, Low Life is the big homie. I'm with Low Life.
Yeah.
He happy,
you know,
shit.
I mean, you know, I ain't that kind of nigga, you know what I'm saying? But I want to find me a sweet female, settle down, you know what I'm saying, to make my money, you know?
Man, I appreciate the call, brother. Thank you for reaching out, man. Shit. Again, we're talking about first dates. That first date, how do you make this first impression that's a meaningful one, right? He gone. So, okay, because shit, my producer is talking to me right now. But we're talking about the first impression. How do we make this first impression? What's the question again? How does he do it? Again, it's very, very difficult to try to get with somebody. And like we were saying earlier, it's very difficult to try to get with somebody when you're not your authentic self. And I agree with C-Walk or Z-Walk or Z-Wall or whatever he was from Texas. What my man said, I agree with him 100%. He said in his experience, he's had difficulty with women because he felt like they couldn't handle the truth of who he was. So they were trying to make him be something that he wasn't. And again, he mentioned the constant attention whoring that a lot of women do. Ladies, if you disagree with me, 877-210-106 is the number to dial. Attention whores. Tell me I'm beautiful. Did you see my hair? You know, most niggas don't really give two shakes of a fat rat's ass about it. And let's just be honest. We got to be honest. Most men don't care. Now, that's not saying that there aren't men out there that do care. But there are women out. I mean, there are some guys out there that, you know, I got time for you. I got time to kick it with you. I got time to get involved with you. And then there's me time. And me time has no you in it. 877-210-610 is the number to dial. You listen to the Voice of Reason. I'm ZoWilliams. Tonight's topic is about first impressions. How do you make a meaningful one, a lasting one? And in making a meaningful one and a lasting one, how do you know if that person's behavior or their presentation is true? Call me and let me know what you think. 877-210-610 is the number to dial, and we'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back again. The Voice of Reason, Sirius Satellite Radio. You're tuned into the Foxxhole, Jamie Foxx's own radio station, man. That's incredible. Sirius Satellite Radio, channel 106. I'm ZoWilliams, and this is the Voice of Reason. And again, our topic tonight is first dates, first impressions, how to make a meaningful one, how to make a lasting one, right? So, again, and you guys can call in and chime in and tell me what you think as far as, you know, what you would like done for you on a first date. What would constitute a first date being good or successful? 877-210-610 is the number to dial. And then not only could you chime in on that, because we could talk about that. To me, a good date is when you get a sense that not only that you were as real and as honest and as forthright as you possibly could be, you know, feel like you revealed a real aspect of who you are as a person, but also when you feel like you've gotten that same shit back from a person. And when I say it's not even a feeling, it's almost like a knowing, an understanding. And that's a difficult thing to fucking accomplish in today's fucking materialistic FICO. I met a doctor and his FICO score is 820. Yeah, we're almost out the hood, right? Or I met a Laker girl and guess what? I'm going to be seeing games, right? She gets free tickets. A lot of times we're using people like tools in a toolbox. It's a utility. And like I said, wherever there's personal agenda, authentic meaning and love, for the most part, can't really happen because unconditional love is unconditioned. If there's no conditions, how can an agenda exist? Isn't an agenda a set of conditions? So that's what we're doing. Our ideals are dating each other. Is that what the fuck is happening? Nigga, my thought process needs a woman. 877-210-610 is the number to dial. I want to talk to Roy from Pennsylvania. If you're in the building, give me a holler. Let me know what you think, man.
What's happening, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm chilling, man. What's up?
Like the show, love the topic, and this theme has been woven through each preceding comment, and that's authenticity, man. I love what you said about discernment. I happen to be studying on discernment. By definition, the power to perceive differences between things or ideas as well as their relationships. Authenticity is something that you can certainly feel on that first date, brother, but it's something that has to be validated over time. You have to have a point of reference. So the degree to which someone is real, you can detect on that first date, but it's something that has to be consistent. I mean, for example, if you meet a sister or a brother who, on the face of it, you know, has an impressive vocabulary, but you sense that, you know, perhaps the pronunciation or the way that they use these words isn't quite natural, you know, in your own spirit, okay, you know, that's something you'll have to observe over time. So, again, this point about being real, being yourself, being authentic has been woven through everyone else's comments, and I happen to echo those. Now, as a divorced man, you know, 43 years old, Bethlehem, out of the projects of Harlem, yada, 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 I mean, I can sense when a person is being real, and I'm going to be myself. Teddy Pendergrass made a song on his debut album, 1977, You Can't Hide from Yourself.
You can't hide.
You can't hide.
I got you, Roy.
You know what I'm saying? So at some point, it's going to come out. Who you are is going to come out. There's no justice to mask it. Just be who you are. Don't feel like you have to pretend to be someone to land someone, because you're going to always have to pretend. And
Roy,
once you take that mask off,
go ahead, Roy.
Go ahead.
Man, that was a great call. What you said was 100% cool. And like I said, shit. The only thing that I disagree with is the time. Because I think physical, emotional is subject to the time. You know, I think that's what's subject to time. If you lock into a person's spirit, which human beings have the capacity to do, and you could do that fucking at the first meeting, just like your grandmother used to do. Remember how you used to bring that knucklehead fool to the house that your grandmother hated the first time she saw? See, your grandmother knew some shit instantly. Don't bring him rounced. Remember that? Don't bring him rounced. Thank you, brother, for calling, Roy. And again, just to echo what he's saying, I don't think a timeline is locked into it. Again, we have the capacity to perceive and understand a person in totality. It just so happens that we live in an externally driven society. So there's no real internal connectivity that allows us to connect to people's core when we meet them. What happens is we get flashes of that capability in between in the cracks of our agenda. Again, one philosopher said, insight is what happens in between our thoughts. When we can get our thoughts or what we think about shit to stop, we can start to see things for what they really and truly are. Tyrone from Georgia, holla, chime in, man.
What's up, ZoWilliams, man?
I'm chilling, man. What's up with you?
Hey, man, it's like this right here. This is the way I see it. You know, when you got on that first date thing, I feel like if you be real with yourself, you can everybody know real recognize real. You feel me? It ain't no faking about that, because a person you can ask them something, or they can be talking or whatever, and you can look at their body movement, the way they answer the question, and all that stuff. You can tell if they're faking or not. Because like I tell my boy, everybody know what they getting into before they get into it.
True.
Leave it. So knowing when divorces go bad or girlfriend, boyfriend go bad, man, you know what you were getting into. Well, I thought it might change, or I thought she might change. That shit don't work, man.
Man.
You know, just like you said about the grandmama thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's some real talk right there. That's real talk right there. That was some real talk. You hit me with that one, man.
Hey, man, Tyrone, man, I want to thank you for calling in. You know you could call in anytime to the Voice of Reason. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. You're listening to ZoWilliams. Like I said, this is the Voice of Reason, and we keep it real. We try to enlighten you on some shit, but we want to keep it real, too. So to speak to what my man was saying again, you know, we got to be able to tap into something more meaningful, more authentic. We can't do it just by externally looking at what motherfuckers are about. We really got to connect on that true, real, authentic level. Chris from Tennessee, are you in the building?
Hey, what's up, Zo?
What up, man? Shit, I'm from Tennessee. What part of Tennessee you from?
I'm actually from Kentucky, but I just moved down here to Knoxville and stuff. I'm a therapist down here in Knoxville. There wasn't no jobs up in Kentucky, so I had to move down this way.
I ain't mad at you. Get your paper, man. Shit.
Yeah. But now what I was calling in on to, like, kind of off of what old dude said, talking about, everybody, kind of can see it and stuff. My whole thing is I tell people all the time, like, my buddies, even myself, like, we see the other person, and it's just like we might see, we might look at them like, okay, she ain't smart enough, ain't got no common sense, no talk, but she looks good. But eventually that's going to come out, or, she might not look good, but we kind of get caught up with, oh, well, she's nice, she does this, and next thing you know, we're sleeping with her and stuff like that. But I think it's like overall can sum it up by saying, like, we try to change people, and like all we need to realize the only person we can change is ourselves, know what we want first, like make a shopping list, and then go out and look for it. If they ain't on the shopping list, send their ass back to the store.
Man, if you don't quit, I love all that shit. Say some more of that shit. Do you have it on deck?
Nah, like, pretty much, like, well, that's what I would be telling people, just, like, overall, just, like, pretty much just from the beginning and stuff, just kind of, like, just know yourself, like, as far as the shopping list, just go through. I'm actually, like, in a process, like, writing, like, a little, like, mini book, like, talking about, like, between, like, a house. Like, I always tell people, like, in the beginning, like, girls, when you're younger and stuff, it's kind of like the motel girls and stuff, girls
Chris,
go out to have a good time with.
Chris, when you write this book, can you get the publishers to add your accent in the book? That shit'll be incredible, man. I want to thank you for the call, man. I appreciate you for reaching out. You gave us some valuable information. And again, one of my favorite philosophers said, truth is self-evident. It doesn't need to be defended. It doesn't need an explanation. And a lot of times that goes back to our caller, Roy, who said, over time. Well, yeah, over time for those who don't have the ability of discernment. And discernment is a skill that all human beings can tap into. And again, it's something that we talk about consistently on this radio show when we talk about the 4 planes of consciousness: spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. For most basic relationships, we are vibrating on the physical, emotional. And if we were to look at physical and emotional, if we were to look at physical and emotional as fuel, these are unrenewable resources in relationships. Once the physicality gets burned up, once the emotionality gets burned up, it ain't a lot. You can't go nowhere if you don't got mental and spiritual back in it. Because you're only beautiful for so long. You're only sexy for so long. Your dick only worked for so long. So, I mean, shit. A lot of these things are very impermanent, but these are the levels that we're basically resonating on. And if we're resonating on higher spiritual levels, I'm telling you, the truth about people reveals themselves immediately if you can see it. It's just like sunlight. We get certain rays, right? Or that are perceptible to the eye. But we're actually getting all the rays. We're getting gamma rays. Shit we can't even see is up in here. The spirit works the same. What this nigga said, no offshore drilling with that shit. But again, we're getting that. So you have to understand, in relationship, the truth about a person is evident from day one. Big Dog, Atlanta, holla.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
I'm chilling, man. What's happening with you, man?
Hey, man, look, about the grandmother part, really you can't base it on the grandmother part, because when you meet a woman, she'll never meet your grandmother for a couple of months, you know what I mean? And by that time, you don't waste it. Huh?
Go ahead, Big Dog, come on.
So you'll never meet the grandmother or the mother, none of that shit, but anytime you go on a first date, you'll never know nobody. And ain't nobody keeping it real. The woman not gonna keep it real. The man not gonna. What man gonna go on the first date and want a woman to know I'm just full of shit?
Well, you know again, don't you know that women are attracted to honest men? That's where we're at our strongest.
But that goes to you'll never know your mate. Not off the rip. It's gonna take you months or maybe years to know who you even dealing with.
You think?
You know
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, look, I've been married for a little bit, but my wife, it took her years to know who I was.
Is that before you got married?
Yeah, before we got married, it took her a long time to know who I was. You never know a person. You're only gonna know what a person wants you to know.
So no mystery with honesty. Is that what you're saying?
I'll never be honest. It ain't. You're not gonna walk in the door with 100% honesty. You're never gonna walk in the door. I don't care. You can sit here and say you will, but you're not. You're not gonna walk in the door and say, "Shit, I really want to live with you tonight, but I want us to be friends too."
Well, why wouldn't you say that? She might want the same thing.
But regardless, you're gonna try to stamp the deal and make it sound real good, so you can guarantee that thing.
I love it. I love it. See, he's speaking to what we talked about earlier. About behavior as the most effective lie. So, Big Dog, would you say that we are a fucking nation of fakers?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Big Dog, I want to thank you for the call, man. Shit, that was heat. A nation of fakers. But yet we want a meaningful, honest, long-lasting, spiritual, deep, satisfying relationship. We bullshitting. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. If you want to get in on this conversation, we got 15 minutes left. Holla at me. I'll be back in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason. Oh, my God. It's a party up in this motherfucker. I wish each and every one of you guys could be in the studio with me right now. And I also want to say this, man. I think, ladies, please email me at ZO@Sirius. That's ZO@Sirius-Radio.com. Because from week to week, I like to go into that email and read some of your stories pertaining to the topics, and then bring that topic or bring the story back up in the next show, because, you know, these relationship topics, I know it sounds like we have different topics every week, but really they kind of all bleed into each other because it's part of the relationship labyrinth. So please call us and let us know. Email us, zo@sirius-radio.com. And again, we were just talking about during the break, no mystery with honesty. And you have some women that are intrigued by the mystery of their men, right? They don't want to know too much. Then you have some women who want to know the honest bone, just tell me the motherfucking truth all day in America. And I think, no, but hear me. I think when a man lies, he bitchifies himself. He gays himself up. He emasculates himself. I believe that. I believe when a man is not truthfully authentic, I think he's at his least masculine. And I think when men are at their most masculine, we are the most attractive to women, to feminine energy. And it seems, and this is why I say behavior as the most effective lie is also connected to the placation we do. Like homeboy said, we got to close that deal. We trying to close the motherfucking deal. So whatever I got to do to facilitate the deal getting closed. Again, back to corporations. Shit, this motherfucker's a salesman. He's a top executive in his corporation. And she's a commodity. Bitch, I got to close this deal. I got to get the ass at all costs. So what am I going to do? I'm going to package this deal in a way that looks like it's more beneficial to you. It might be more beneficial to you in the short term, but in the long term, it's more beneficial to me. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. Brian from D.C., chime in and tell us what the fuck you think about this, man.
Hey, Zo, how you doing, man?
I'm chilling,
hey, look,
brother.
I turned on a little late in the show. I want to say I've been married to my wife for 10 years. I met her in 94, got married in 98. On our first date, I kept it real. When we went out, she paid. I didn't have to do anything. Now, in D.C., I'll be honest with you, I fucked a whole lot of women before I got married because their men weren't doing what they were supposed to. You know, like when I turned on, you were talking about guys not appreciating hairdos and things like that. I tell the brothers, if you don't tell your woman how she look, don't worry about it. Because a dude like me, when I was younger, would fuck her and wouldn't think nothing else about it and be very honest with her and tell her, I just want the pussy. You know?
Well, so, I'm glad you retired.
Yeah,
shit.
You know, I've been
glad this nigga's off the shelf.
You know, yeah, but you know, now we got all these dice and shit running around. And I tell the guys, they dice because y'all don't know what the fuck you doing. You know, you don't appreciate your women.
Wow.
Things like that. Now, back to that honesty and all that other stuff the other guys are talking about. I mean, that's fine and good. But a lot of times in this area, these women down here in D.C. want to play games. You know, if you 6'5", 6'6", and look like a basketball player, like when they had the NBA All-Star game here, man, dudes don't know how to play basketball and is getting pussy all because of what they look like.
Right.
You
Brother,
know?
man,
So,
hey, Chris, Brian, we got to move on. I really appreciate the call, man. That was great information. And again, anybody else want to chime in, 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. And to even go further into Brian's top point that he made, we have to separate appreciation from attention whores. There's a difference. You can appreciate your woman. And I agree with Brian 100%. If you don't appreciate your woman, some motherfucker will, float through and show some level of appreciation. But you have to separate appreciation from attention. You got some people that just got to have some eyes on them. Did you see me? I'm here. Pay attention. Hey, would you take your monkey ass in the other room? So again, you got some people that just, gotta be the spotlight of it. That is a problem. And hopefully we can learn to discern that shit on the first date. That's what I'm trying to do. Bitch, are you an attention whore? Because a real meaningful woman, I'm going to appreciate fully. And it ain't hard to appreciate a meaningful woman. You know why? Because she appreciates herself before she even gets to you. And that's what I'm saying. Dope, real, honest, and meaningful shit creates more of itself. If you're in a real fucked up, bullshit, chicanery laden relationship, you got to start with you first before you try to just bounce to another situation, because all you doing is like a badass kid with germs on his hands. You just roaming through the house, touching shit, just contaminating a whole bunch of shit, spreading it around. So you can't just change environments and not treat the symptom. And usually the symptom is internal. You understand what I'm saying? Or the cause is internal. So shit, man. We've been talking about the first impressions and the first date. And for me, like I said, it's always about being your authentic self. It's always about treating people with respect. It's always about, not compromising. We talked about this before, too, as far as compromise versus compromise. And what I mean by that is, shit, you can compromise with somebody, meaning you can work with them. You can, you can sit down and negotiate and agree to form a union with somebody. But at the same time, if you're negotiating and you find yourself compromising who you are, you're fucking up. And a lot of times as men, we compromise who we are when we placate, right? When we're not being real, when we just, put on this facade. And women, y'all do it too. I'm only dating this frog-like man because he has a FICA score of 785, or I'm only dating this fucking hunchback because, he has a pension, or he plays for the NFL, or this nigga is some important other nigga's assistant or some shit. Does this shit not go on? Motherfucker, we are corporations. We're interacting in business deals when we fucking in relationships. And the whole thing is, if you're not conscious, you don't know what contract you just signed. What about those fucking silent contracts, those emotional contracts that we're not talking about? Just like the girl, she had a baggage bomb ready to drop on this dude, and she thought twice. She thought better of it. Shit, I'm not going to tell this nigga I got kids. Well, what are you going to do? Stuff these motherfuckers in a shoebox when this nigga come over? What is going on in our relationships? This is why our relationships wind up like shit, because we're afraid to be honest. I keep telling you, truth is self-evident. A motherfucking tree in your neighborhood is a tree. This motherfucker ain't got to have a definition from Webster's at its root so you can know what the fuck is. Nigga, that's a tree. Truth is self-evident. You understand what I'm saying? Butterflies are beautiful. It's self-evident. You understand? The 405 has traffic. It's self-evident. The truth is the truth. You ain't got to explain it. It ain't some shit that will unfold over time. That's the bullshit. You can tell a motherfucker is on some bullshit from the gate if you are spiritually aware. But most of our relationships are not designed that way. Why? You know why? We live in a capitalist society that says, nigga, whoever got the money makes the rules. So now our whole time is motherfucking predicated on making the money so we can make the rules. So let me give you my final thoughts for tonight's show. The premise of tonight's show was about making a first impression that emanates from the authentic core of oneself. Your core self is not the socially defined, self-protective, self-aggrandizing, and self-unaware image that unfortunately most of us deal with on a daily basis when trying to navigate through the physical and emotional quagmire of the relationship labyrinth. In my opinion, first impressions should be deeply rooted in intuition, not superficial things such as credit scores, bank accounts, cars, clothes, social status, and the likes. With that being said, I give you my top tips for making a meaningful first impression. Tip number 1, let the real you stand up in the beginning. Be your true self. You are not a fictitious person like a corporation. Don't bring your representative to the date. Tip number 2, be confident, but not arrogant. Don't treat the other person as if going on this date with them was a favor to them. Be interested while at the same time be interesting. Tip number 3, try to maintain comfortable eye contact. Don't stare too hard and don't avoid eye contact altogether. Tip number 4, come well hydrated. In other words, don't be thirsty. The energy of desperation can work like a magnet, which means desperation can push and pull in negative experiences. Tip number 5, Be visibly presentable. This entails proper hygiene and appropriately neat attire. Don't come looking like a fucking bum. You know what I'm saying? Wear a nice shirt. Wear some cologne even. Right? Brush your teeth, comb your hair. Don't put a gang of gel on. Don't have a lopsided ass weave. I'm ZoWilliams, and that's my final thought. You're listening to The Voice of Reason. This is what we do every Thursday. We have a ball. If you want to get in contact with us, please hit us up at zo@sirius-radio.com. You can get us at MySpace, Voice of Reason 106. Join the conversation on Facebook, too. All my Facebook homies, love you, respect you, keep hollering at me, and we'll see you next week. Peace!